start this segment.
Oh, very nice. Very
Oh,
nice.
cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
A little prop. Well, Jasmine Sandler, thank you so much for coming to the Dear Business Coach podcast today. Thank you. How are you today?
Good. I am good. Been
Yeah.
very busy, but all good. I just got back from my business trip in Florida, so it was very successful, and everything is fine.
Welcome to Dear Business Coach, the podcast. My name's Elizabeth. Find one thing to move your business forward today with conversations, spotlights, interviews, articles, and free resources. Listen and follow and subscribe on social media. Dear Business Coach pages and groups. Dear Business Coach podcast, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and don't forget Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, anywhere you listen to podcasts. All it takes sometimes is one little thing to move your business forward today. Okay, awesome. I actually have I started to get familiar with you, so like some media folks do, looking at your profile, wondering what's going on in your world right now, and
Mhm.
what's under what's underneath the title and things like that. And I actually wanted to highlight what's important to you today, as well as maybe ask you some questions that are from your resume, if you will. And I think what I want to start with is something that you have going on right now that, as I see behind you there, the Warrior Women, well, it actually says warriorwomenbusiness.com. And so you've been talking to me about Warrior Women, which actually is part of your media business. And so I would like to know, are you are you moving into this area about women for women as a primary focus? Is this something that you started with before? How did you end up focusing on women?
Okay, so I've been in the executive branding space for about 20 years, executive branding and personal branding. And so my main business, JS Media, we serve both men and women in that space. And generally, they are executives that are usually successful, and they either want to make a change in their career, start a new venture, get on boards, or become speakers and authors. And a subset of that I found really interesting were the women. I've done a lot of speaking to women's groups, particularly D&I and women's leaderships groups inside of corporate. And so, Warrior Women in Business came from my talks to female leaders. At one point, I was speaking to a room full of women business owners, and I saw an opportunity and a need and a purpose really to support them by bringing thought leadership to help them to grow their careers and businesses. And so, Warrior Women in Business started as a podcast and as a personal branding service for women business owners. We still obviously do that, and it's definitely it's a part of JS Media. Where it's grown and expanded is into a membership program and membership offering, especially this month being Women's History Month is actually a very,
Right.
very important month. And that's why I've been involved with two major events for Warrior Women in Business. One in New York, which was a fundraiser for the Domestic Violence Task Force and the Gender-Based Violence Task Force of the Mayor's Office. And then I just came from a partnered event in Tampa to help the American Cancer Society. So, Warrior Women in Business is very mission driven. It's a membership organization, and the members have the opportunities to be on the podcast, get spotlighted in our events, and we just recently this month, have launched a membership portal and directory. So the intention is for Warrior Women in Business and for the members is to help to guide them into qualified business relationships by directing them within the directory, and then online and then offline by producing events where they can actually meet and do business with each other, and also help them to drive visibility. So our events, the physical events, they have multiple flavors to them to support all three types of women: the female executives that are really mentors and leaders that want to help and get the word out about what they're doing, women business owners to connect and learn about these opportunities, and women in the arts to perform. So both the events that I just mentioned both had full concerts of women, so musical performances, as well as silent auctions of art, female art. So we do that. Yeah, there's a lot to say about Warrior Women, but primarily it's very tied into my main business because a lot of the women business owners initially came to us for personal branding, and it just kind of developed from there.
Mm.
For them, we do styling. We actually have a fashion line. We help them really because we are used to working with women that have to get on stage, as speakers. So it's a big piece. It's all about visibility and support.
Update, update, update. Now you can get 10 free email issues when you sign up for email at dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. Discount codes, early access, exclusive content, the magazine, and access to the VIP page. Dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. Wow. Yeah, okay, so I actually I'm so curious just right there what you said about speakers, because you said we do work with women who often have to get on stage.
Yeah.
And this is going to sound like a silly question. However, is that a big barrier if you feel like, oh no, I'm not ready to actually just stand in my outfit? What do I need to do to focus my attention properly, even before I start talking? Is that really important?
Oh, it's hugely important. So I think
Mm.
that, the personal branding work starts with the messaging and framing the messaging, and most importantly is really pulling out what's real and authentic to that individual. So, some executives and some women business owners don't necessarily want to speak. A lot of them want to write. A lot of them want to just provide guidance. So, in the world of personal branding, for women business owners and executive branding, every single client is different. Every single client is definitely different. So, it's all very
Mm.
much about unique tastes and unique goals. So, I think that's why we're a very high touch service. It's not cookie cutter at all, because it's
Mm.
very much the individual. So with Warrior Women, we partner with, we have a fashion designer. We also work with other women's organizations that support women, including mental health people, therapists. There's all these different women that are supporting the needs of our individual clients.
I think you're touching on something there where each person is unique, of course, and that actually, is it not hard to keep from becoming a little cookie cutter, you as a leader, right? We that's a fantastic intention, and yet once you find patterns of what helps people stand out and be successful, and there might be some patterns of a formula, if you
Well,
will,
there's
of success.
absolutely right, absolutely a system and a formula that's
Yeah.
critical to run a business and to deliver a service that is high quality. But my point was each individual is different. So even
Mm-hmm.
though the formula may be similar, the output for each individual is different because every single person has a different way of speaking,
Mm-hmm.
language, style, all of those things, doing business. And that's what
Right.
makes them powerful, honestly.
I agree. Well, so how do you start pairing uh folks, or folks that are coming in looking for that guidance? You want to pair them and network them with folks who are going to maybe work with their particular style or their unique message. Are there are there steps that go into that? How do you figure out how to connect people with the right mentors or with the right network?
So that has everything to do with the strategy and planning. So we do a deep dive with our clients and our individual clients, a deep dive to really understand and help them to define, their target plan and their business plan for their own personal brand. So that's honestly the first place that we start with those that are looking to actually invest in their personal brand. So it's a very, like I said, high touch but longer term process, And then, as far as your question in terms of connecting them, that really, again, it goes back to who they are and where they want to go and what they need. And, you know, it just really depends. So, like, as an example, photography, I'll just start with that. So, I've been handpicking for many years photographers that I work with across the US, and actually, we have international clients. And
Hmm.
so, there's a level of quality that I look for any partner, whether it's a women business organization that we're partnered with, a photographer, maybe it's a video team because we direct video teams outside of the areas where we have physical locations. We're in New York, Boca, and Beverly Hills, and we do a lot of events also in Chicago for some reason. But anyway, the point is when we're onboarding, when we're working with a client that's in another country or another state, the things that they need to have fulfilled usually locally. And so I got,
Mm.
we always guide their local support, and we sometimes help them look for it, but usually it's about guiding, helping them make those decisions, like art directing and do a lot of, you know, a lot of that work. So, it's really about the quality of service. Stylists, for example, I've worked with stylists around the country. So, it just that's fine and that's good, and that's the intention of Warrior Women overall, is to feed the economy, right? So you know if we are working with freelancers or a client's team, that's helping them to grow. So I think we have a really great effect on that.
That sounds like a tremendous amount of detailed networking. That's very impressive. And the photography is a good example. Yes, I have even within your personal life, right? You know who's going to take the picture of you that looks the best, and sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes it has to be that one person that knows how to hold the camera, and that sounds a little ridiculous, but that's a very personal experience. I get very, it's like somebody doing your hair. You cannot, my hair looks very boring and very plain, and it is, and yet I still am extremely nervous when I go to a new person.
Yeah, it's true. So for example, in New York, because of our events, I have makeup artists, and we also have a fashion line, and we're doing a September launch. So, the quality of the people is so important. I have one photographer that's pretty much, I would say, one of our more exclusive photographers here in New York. She's done so many shoots, but she is excellent, So it's definitely a quality of service thing, 100%.
Yeah, I like the term high touch. I like that phrasing. And what about getting into the membership? We're just getting into Warrior Women and having a membership. What is that difficult? Is it as easy as signing up? Do I need to do some steps ahead of time before asking for a membership or joining?
No, our membership is pretty simple. I mean, it's not meant to be some exclusive club, and it's really meant to be low cost for a reason, because the
Oh,
intention, yeah, a Warrior Women membership is it's $15 a month. It's nothing. It's really, really intended to um, be open and available, because I'm a former president of NABO, the largest women business organization in the US, for the New York City chapter. I know a lot. I'm just now getting involved with Chief. So I know all the women's organizations. And so Warrior Women is meant to be basically a connector and supporter of other women's organizations. So we don't want to have a barrier to entry. We want to be able to offer these services and support, not our services they get discounts on, but what they get as a member for $15 a month. They get the visibility, they get access into events. Like, one thing I'd love to mention is our signature event that's happening this month. Is We are doing a private Met Museum tour with a partner of ours, Women of Culture. And Women of Culture is a partner we've been working with since 2000, I think 18 or 19, co-creating events. They are amazing. And so, that's a female only exhibit at the Met Museum. So that's for members only. That's the whole point. That's a member only opportunity. that they wouldn't normally get. So we bring arts, culture, business, connectivity to other women's organizations. A lot of my time is actually spent meeting with the heads of other women's organizations because we're not looking to compete. We're looking to really collaborate in how we can, because at the end of the day, it's really supporting that individual. So the members, they get a lot, and it's what they make it, I mean, it's being a member of anything, it's really what you make it. So I have, for example, in Florida, I had a member come to our event. She drove 2 hours to come to our event. And I took the time to meet with her afterwards. And now I'm helping her to plan an event that's going to support her and Warrior Women because she's putting effort into her membership.
Mm.
She was just on the podcast last week. She's putting the effort in. So if you put the effort in, you get so much out of it.
Well, that's a lot of dedication on your end, and it's also I would say it's interesting that you are making the barrier to entry so low. It's basically, as you said, it's nothing. It's $15 a month, and yet you are offering access for these high worth networking events. But it's not just that. Like you said, who hasn't been to a networking event where you thought, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And so I like that. It's very it sounds like you're jet setting all over the place, meeting with executives of other women's organizations. So it's a fun picture. I picture you as a movie star just traveling around. However, what I'm getting at is I think that was an interesting share that you said the most of your time is spent meeting with the heads of organizations, of other women's organizations, and this is part of the work that you do, is bringing the value. So you are saying, well, it's not the membership is not to try to attract who can pay the most to be a part of it, and yet you are putting in your personal valuable brand, your time that could be spent on branding yourself, which it is. And however, you're bringing these resources to the folks in your membership. So that's not actually a model that I see a whole lot of, right? Usually the model is those who spend the most get the most access, or have
Yeah.
the invites, and that's fine. I understand that. That's not what you're doing. So this is really um um it's different. I'm impressed. I'm thinking what I want to say to myself is, how do you do all that? How do
Well, I
you
mean,
do all that?
well, first of all, we did start with 3 levels of membership, but we decided as a team that it makes that could provide barriers. And our mission is we really do want to drive economic development. So the only way to do that is to keep that cost low. So it's $15 for a business owner, and it's only $5 for an artist. And
Oh,
artists get opportunities to perform at our events and connect with
oh,
business. So I mean, for them, and I'm an artist, so I'm very empathetic. I'm a composer, I'm a performer. I'm very empathetic to both the female entrepreneurs and the artists. And when we started with the 3 tiers, our price point for the executives were higher because they were generally taking advantage of our personal branding programs. But if the members are getting access and they're growing their businesses, then it will give them the money to invest in their personal brand. So we have a personal branding program for the women business owners that pay the $15 a month that is basically discounted in half to what we charge our executives. So it's a reason. There's a reason that we did that. A very specific reason. And we can
yeah.
then show proof of concept to the members, because whether you're paying us $15 a month as a Warrior Women member, or you're paying $5,000 a month as a executive client, I've been in business a long time, and the number one, my every day is I want to show that they are getting value, whoever it is. There's some value that they're getting. Then it's less work that we have to do because they're getting value. I had a member bring in two new members. She's like, I love it. Jasmine, I referred people. I'm like, okay, like it's good. That's what we want. We want that. We want to see that people are winning from what we're doing.
Yes, I what now I am thinking, thank you for sharing that you also are a performer and a composer. And I was looking through your profile. Are you a vocalist?
Yes, I am.
Did you go to Juilliard?
I do go to Juilliard. I
You
actually,
do go to Juilliard.
yeah, I study in their extension program. I have two. I take vocals. It's an opera Broadway class, and then I also just that's the best way to put it. And then I also do piano for composition.
Wow.
Mm, mm.
Well, that's something that sounds also equally glamorous to me. Now, have you been doing that your whole life?
No, I've been writing in terms of lyrics and but not no. I actually started only about 10 years ago. I have an album out. I've written another album for it's just natural. The writing piece, I just seem to be really good at it and musical direction. I come from like a lot of going to symphonies, so I know music. That's the best way for me to put it. But the vocal development has only been in the last 10 years. I'm really serious about it. I'm really serious about it. I love music, and I think it's for what I do and it's not even a focus. I feel like it's a purpose. My music I use to with like our charity events. I think that I use it in a way to help support things. So that's the way I look at music personally.
Wow.
Hmm.
Well, I agree. And
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Wow. So you said this is actually something that is focused for you in the last 10 years. And right, it's not a hobby. You are very
Yeah.
seriously pursuing it. What happened for you 10 years ago to say, this is something I need to do?
Oh, well, I've kind of always wanted to play music, and I just did it. I just said this is what I want to do, and I started on a couple of instruments, and then I didn't really like them, and I said, and I don't know, I just picked up singing, and then I got in a cover band, and I did two cover bands, and I did some shows, and then I wrote my first song, and I was like, that's it. I'm a writer. Like, I just love writing. And then now I've been studying more music theory and a bass, so I can play bass and piano to write. So, it's just songwriting. I love songwriting. It's probably my favorite thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we had this show had a an artist release interview recently. Actually, it's still in the editing room. It still
Oh,
the episode's not
nice.
out yet. But yeah, so an artist release is something that or an artist spotlight is something that we've done on this show too. And maybe I'd like to ask you about that at some time. It's really
Yeah.
hard not to keep talking to you and asking you about your performance work. Do you perform as well sometimes at your events or?
Every time.
Oh, really? Oh, good. Okay, that's
Yeah, I
fun.
was in Florida performing. I performed in New York, and yeah, of course.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's so now that's actually something else I wanted to point out too is the locations of where you do events for me are important when I'm thinking about where I'm going to gather or if I'm going to
Of
join a
course.
networking group. And there are places all over the country that are fantastic for networking and events. However, there are some cities where you're going to have a little bit different experience and exposure. If what we're looking for here is experiences that do involve the arts and especially the clientele that you have or the members that you have, if we're looking for as we're looking treating our branding as sort of an artistry and a presence, I imagine lots of your members are highly artistically motivated and highly in touch with the arts themselves too. So this is probably very important for a couple of different levels. So
Yep.
that must be really challenging for you to coordinate with folks in these major cities. For example, how on earth did you get a private museum tour? Can I ask you for something a little behind the scenes how you pull that off?
Well, so that's through Women of Culture. That's our partner, and they produce a lot of events, and we partner with them. We sometimes co-create, sometimes they have events, and we'll sponsor their events and partner and help them, with promotions. So this is their event, and then we've had events where we've brought them in. So we're a very good pair. That's why I say a lot of times a lot of my work is identifying the right women's organizations to partner with because for all events that I do am involved with, I want to have entertainment, culture, but also business. So with them, we're a really great team because they do a lot of the arts and culture. Even though I am the board director for the Arts and Culture Network in New York, I'm very involved with arts and culture. They have been doing
Wow.
events for many years. Um, and then I do events with the mayor's office, and they can't do that. So we just are a very good fit, you know. And that those are so when you talk about different cities, that's like Beverly Hills. I'm involved with their Women Business Network. I have a call with them this afternoon, actually, about doing an event. So, yeah, it's a lot of partnership work.
Yes. Now, I recently just talked to somebody where I got on the subject of hosting events. I've hosted a workshop before, and I learned that I'm probably not the best person to be the host and then also speak. And so that is a whole different job, right, to host versus being someone who is
Absolutely.
coming to speak. So, do you have a lot of help for this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, uh, do I have a lot of help? When I do events, um, when I decide I'm going to do an event, if I'm going to produce it, I will bring on a staff for that event. I have a team, right? And my everyday company has a team, right? But when I decide I'm going to produce an event, like the event that we produced for Valentine's Day, I brought on a staff of 8 people for 2.5 months, you know. So that's much different. I don't do, Warrior Women doesn't do a lot of we don't do weekly events at all, you know. We A lot of our events are with our partner organizations where they are doing that and we're supporting them, bringing in our members, you know. I'm speaking. It's a little bit different. So we have signature events like that one in Valentine's Day. We do that event every year in New York. And then in like Beverly Hills, we'll do an event a quarter where we produce it and then we'll bring in staff. So it's a little bit different.
Oh, thank you. That is a behind the scenes share.
Well, it's fine. I don't want
Yes.
people to think I have a million people because it's fine. And we're not an events company, like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I have event partners. I actually had a meeting last night with a gentleman who we're planning to do a few events together. He runs a high-end concierge events company where he produces events like for the Cannes Film Festival. And he
Wow.
said, "Oh, I want to do something with Warrior Women." Okay, great. What are we doing? He's doing the heavy lifting, you know. So I'm looking for high-end exclusive events, right? So that's not what we do. So we partner with a lot of organizations.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness. I have to make sure I know that I might have to wrap it up here for you. You have folks that you need to talk to next, and I thank you so much for coming. Actually, the URL I'd like to direct folks to is warriorwomenbusiness.com. Is that right?
That's for Warrior Women. That's our website. Yes, thank you.
Now I can also possibly connect with you on LinkedIn. Is there anywhere in particular? Is that a good spot?
Yeah, the ways to connect, certainly Warrior Women Business, and then my LinkedIn URL is very easy because it's linkedin.in online branding. I've had that since 2000. I've been doing LinkedIn keynote speaking training work for so long. So that's my handle, online branding there. But yeah. And JS Media, so jasminesandler.com is that's my main company, JS Media. And it goes to everything.
Oh,
The
okay,
main That's
yes.
the main business, yeah.
Amazing. Okay, you know what? I hope I earned the right to ask you back again sometime. I really appreciate you sharing with me today and recording with me today. So, warriorwomenbusiness.com, Jasmine Sandler, JS Media. I hope you have a fantastic weekend.
Yes, thank you. No, this was great, and I'd be happy to come back on and talk about other things.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
All right, have a good day. Bye.
Bye bye. Have a good day. You've been listening to the Dear Business Coach podcast. My name is Elizabeth Walker, producer and host of the Dear Business Coach podcast. Music by Stones Mayo. Social media by Meenakshi Bensal. Follow and subscribe now Thanks so much. You are a superstar.